Hello, my name's Simon Zutshi, and in this property education video, I want to share with you how you can buy unlimited properties with just one deposit. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, I don't know if I believe it. And some people said, Simon, you're lying. There's no way you can do that. Well, I'm going to share with you exactly how you can do that in this video. So I've been investing in property since 1995. And actually my very first property was one I purchased with none of my own money. That's because I had no money at the time. I'd been a student, I was in debt, but I got a great job at Cadbury's in Birmingham and I just wanted to get my own home. So I borrowed the deposit from a family member. It wasn't a gift, it was a loan. I paid it back with interest. And I was able to do that because I rented out 2 of the rooms in my house to friends who were still studying at university. The rent they paid me covered the mortgage, covered the loan repayment, and I was actually saving lots of my salary from my job. I also had a part-time business running student nightclub events in Birmingham, and that money built up to give me the deposit to buy my second property. Now, a lot of people think you need a lot of money to buy property, and yes, property can be expensive. But what I'm going to share with you in this video is when you know how, as long as you have one deposit, you can keep recycling that and buy as many properties as you want. So how do you get that first deposit? Well, maybe you have some inheritance. Maybe you've got some savings. Maybe you sell a business. Maybe you get money from a divorce. Whatever it is, you've got a chunk of money. And rather than putting it into one property and getting stuck, which is what happened with my second property, you can actually recycle that money. You know what, actually, maybe we should go and have a look at some of my properties and I'll show you exactly what I mean, how you can buy unlimited properties using just one deposit. Follow me.
Fond memories for you, Simon, coming down this road.
Yeah, so this is Bourneville Lane, and at the end of here is the Cadbury's factory, and where I worked for at head office where I worked for like 5.5 years before I was able to leave thanks to my property income. And so I own number 23, which is just there. I own 61, 67 and 72. So I've got 4 houses on this road. It's a great location because there's lots of local shops very close, there's a bus stop right into the city centre, and you've got Bourneville train station up here, which is direct link into Birmingham city centre in like 12 minutes. Great place to have an HMO. So the basic concept is you find a property, and I bought terrace properties like this back in 2005 when I created my first purpose-built HMOs. You buy the property for £130,000, spend about £40,000 turning it into an HMO, maybe going up into the attic to create a special bedroom, a couple of en-suites, and then the value of the property might be 200. So I spent 170, the value's 200, and at the time we could get 85% mortgages. So I could remortgage up to 170, pay back the first mortgage, get all the money back out, and I got the money to go and buy another property, which meant I was able to buy 3 properties in the same road using the exact strategy, and those have all been HMOs I've had for almost 20 years now. When I turned my first house into that student property, still at Cadbury's, I was still a graduate trainee, I was earning probably about £1,500 a month. And I was spending probably 200 hours a month really trying to work hard at Cadbury's, really trying to impress, because the idea is you want to try and get a senior position, which I did eventually do. And then I looked at my rental property that was making me about £500 a month, and I spent maybe 2 hours a month, if that, looking after it. I thought, hang on a minute, £500 for 2 hours work as opposed to £1,500 for 200 hours work. I've really got to get more property. And that's when I thought, right, I need to start building this portfolio. And I did it the very slow, old-fashioned way. I was saving deposit money, putting it into properties, and you know, it's the way most people do. And over time, as values go up, you can refinance, you can take the money out, and then buy another one. The problem with that is it takes a very long time. So it wasn't until a few years later I learned about what's called momentum investing. Many people call it BRRR, where you buy a property, you renovate it, you add value to it, and then you refinance that property to pull all or some of the money out. And that's how you can use a deposit to go and buy another property. The second house that I bought in 1998, I lived there for a number of years, then I moved out and rented that one when I moved into my next one. So I moved out of my first house in 1998 and I moved into this property, a larger property, 3-bedroom, end terrace, and my friends who were living with me in my first property moved here. So I started renting out my first house to students at Birmingham University. Now this second property required a much bigger deposit because it was my second residential property. I had to put 30% into this property. And this was a big mistake because I had to tie that money up for a long period of time. As the value went up over time, eventually I was able to remortgage, take the money out, and I used that deposit to go and buy another property. But the money was locked up. And that's what most investors do. They buy one property, sit back, wait for the value to go up, and then when they can, remortgage to take the money out. But there's a much better strategy that I want to share with you in this video. Because remember, you can use the same deposit to buy unlimited properties if you follow this formula I'm about to share with you. So instead of leaving deposit in the property, what we need to do is add value to the property so that rather than waiting years and years, we can shrink down the time to the point of remortgage where we can take all the money out. So how do you do that? Well, it's called momentum investing, or otherwise known as BRRR, where you buy, you refurbish, you refinance, you rent, and then you repeat, i.e. you take the money, deposit, and go and do it again. So let's think about how we can do this. If you find a property that's in need of some renovation, it might be a deceased estate, it might be a motivated seller or a repossessed property, one that needs a bit of work doing to it. What you can do is you add value to that property through refurbishment. Now, not only do you put new bathrooms, kitchens in, you can also extend the property. Like this property here, they've extended to the side, they've extended to the rear, increasing the value of that property by increasing the floor space. You can also go up into the attic to create an extra room or two, and maybe if you have a cellar, that could also be created into a communal room or even into a kitchen. So the idea is you're taking a property, you're adding value. The money you spend is less than the value you create. So let's say you buy a property for 150,000 in need of some work doing to it, and you spend maybe £75,000 on that property. So the total cost might be 225,000. But if you've increased the value up to 300,000, after 6 to 9 months of ownership, you can refinance the property. So if you've got the value up to 300,000, remember you could borrow 75% loan to value. So 75% of 300,000 is 225. So you get a remortgage for 225, which is the total amount you spent in terms of the initial purchase for 150, the £75,000 of work. So you get all of your money back. So by doing this, by adding value and refinancing, you can take all that deposit money out and go and buy another property. And you can get unlimited number of properties as long as you can keep adding value and refinancing. What this means is you have a portfolio left over with none of your own money invested, with a cash flow coming through. If you have enough properties, you can completely replace your income. This is why you should be investing in property. Now, this all sounds great now. I didn't know this when I first started investing. Probably for the first 10 years of investing, I was putting money in and waiting for the natural growth. And that's until I thought about my very first property that I bought in 1995. Then 1998, I turned into that student HMO. I looked back at that property and realized after 10 years that it was the very best cash flowing property. So I decided I wanted to get more HMOs. So I thought, how about I combine strategies? How about if I can find properties, add value and refinance, and then use them as HMOs? Not only do I get all my money back, but I also can have this high cash flow from the remaining properties. And I looked around the local area and I started to buy closer to Cadbury's on Bourneville Lane, but actually it was a great location for renters and I could find properties below market value that needed renovating. I'd spend the money, recycle it and go and buy another property. So I've done this over the last 20, 25 years. A lot of my students are doing it right now. And even in an expensive market, there are always going to be motivated sellers. There are always going to be properties where you can add value and you can refinance, take all of your money out. So let's go and look at some of those original properties I was turning into HMOs. So this is Teignmouth Road. This is where I bought my very first house back in 1995. And I bought here because I knew the area. It's right next to Birmingham University where I'd studied, and my friends who are living with me still living there. And this was a great start for me to get my foot on the property ladder. And complete student area. You can see all these converted attics that were never done before. All the houses, they really extend them to get as many students as they can into the properties. So I hope you can see how you can recycle the same deposit to buy an unlimited number of properties. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit the bell icon so you get notified whenever we bring out a new video. Well, I'm going to go off now and try and find some new properties in the area to invest, and I encourage you to do the same. Invest with knowledge, invest with skill. Enjoy the next video. I do hope you've enjoyed watching this video. And look, if you want to learn more about houses of multiple occupation and how you can really profit using them, I've got some extra online training that I'd like to give you access to. So all you have to do is click in the link in the description below the video, and you can come and register and get access to that training, which will give you far more detail and really help you save a lot of time and make some real shortcuts to make sure you're getting the next HMO property much, much quicker. So click on the link right now and come and register for that extra bonus training with me. In the meantime, I've also lined up another video here I think you'll find really useful. So until the next video, remember to invest with knowledge, invest with skill.